Hey, what's up? It's Chaz again, back with another review. This time, the 1987 Arnold Schwarzenegger classic, Predator. Um, Before I get started with my review, I want to, reminisce a little bit about the first time I saw this. I think it was on cable. I think it was the Showtime network around 1990. I think this was around the time that Total Recall came out. Um, yeah, it was the first time I saw this. um, Directed by John McTiernan. This was the year before he directed Die Hard. Uh, Written by Jim and John Thomas, but from what I understand, Shane Black, who also appears in the movie as Hawkins, he did some rewrites with the script. Uh, but anyway, Arnold, who plays Dutch, and his team, which includes Dylan, played by Carl Weathers, Mac, played by Bill Duke, um, Billy, played by Sonny Landham, uh, Pancho, played by Richard Chavez. As I just mentioned, Shane Black as Hawkins. Um, who else am I forgetting? Elpadilla, Elpadilla Carrillo. I hope I got her name right. As Anna. Um, Jesse Ventura. How could I forget Jesse Ventura? Um, yeah, but anyway, they arrive to visit this general. The general gives them the lowdown on their mission. His cabinet minister uh, was captured by these guerrillas, this guerrilla army in Central America. They have to go down and rescue, rescue mission. That's what this is. They're a rescue team. Arnold and his squad. So he asked the general, "Hey, well, what do you need us for?" And Dylan says, "Hey, 'cause some damn fool accused you of being the best." He turns around and sees Dylan. You're like, "You son of a bitch!" And the big muscle handshake, dap up, and he tells him that, I'm going with you. He's like, "What do you mean me? What do you mean we? Who's we?" And they all, yeah, of course, they make their way to the jungle, and they find that there was a rescue team before them that was sent in, and they all turned up dead, skinned alive, and hanging from their ankles in the trees. And they also find, no, wait, yeah, they learned, yeah, the the leader of that squad was a guy named Jim Hopper. And Dutch says he knew these guys, like, you know, Green Berets out of Fort Bragg. What the hell were they doing here? Somebody sent them down here. And we later find out it was Dylan who sent them down there. Um, as Arnold says, "You set us up. It's all bullshit. The cabinet minister, you got us in here to do your dirty work." And of course, they go on to take out the guerrillas, and that's where that piece of dialogue comes from. And sooner or later, and while they're doing all of this, they don't realize that they're being stalked by this creature who's, we see through this creature's vision and the body heat of these guys. He's slowly stalking, and eventually he makes his way, picking them off one by one. Um, yeah, the gorilla scene. Jesse Ventura with his minigun. Max says, "Time to bring old Painless out the bag." and Jesse Ventura cocks the gun, payback time, and you know he uses the minigun. Arnold uses his weapon. They all, you know, they kick the shit out of these gorillas, and they move on. But after they leave, well, before they left, Mac tells Dylan to turn around. There was a scorpion on his back, and he said, "Thanks, anytime." And after they leave, the creature, he comes down, sees what these guys did. Hey, these guys, and of course, yeah, they're ready. They're ready. Yeah, they're ready to play my game. They are game. Yeah, and it's on. He picks up the scorpion. He's processing all of the different voices of these soldiers as well, and picks up the scorpion, and we hear anytime. So slowly but surely, and the first one to be taken out is Hawkins, of course, um, and then Blaine, Jesse Ventura, and when that happens, Mac sees the creature for himself. Sergeant picks up the minigun and just going hog wild on this, like, and then all the other guys show up and they shoot the shit out of nothing but greenery, and then um, Pancho says, "Hey, nothing, no blood, no bodies. We didn't hit a damn thing." But and and Mac, he's devastated. Blaine was his friend, and that piece of music, by the way, is my favorite piece of this soundtrack. That da, 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 da. That's my favorite piece of this soundtrack. Great soundtrack by Alan Silvestri. That da 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 da. Yeah. If you heard any beeping, that's my oven. I'm cooking some food. But anyway, where was I? Yeah, Mac. Um, Someone hit the tripwires, and it turned, and Mac, he goes off. Well, before that, he's pretty much talking to Blaine. Here we go, bro. Here we go, bro. And that's when someone hit the tripwires, and it turns out to be a pig. Yeah. And then the next day, the hunt continues, and yeah, the predator stole Blaine's body right from under their noses. But uh, wow. But anyway, the hunt continues. The game continues. Who's next to go? Oh yeah, they set up traps trying to capture this predator, and they actually catch him for a second, but he shoots his way out of the net, and he shoots a tree branch, and this big ass log comes down and hits Pancho right in his chest. But and of course, Mac and Dylan, they get taken out. You know, they try to take out the predator together, but he took out Mac first. Mac, he's making his way down to his position, but then he sees those red dots on his arm, and he ends up taking out Dylan right after Mac. And then Billy, he's been, he's the one who actually he has an idea of what's going on. You know, before they took out the gorillas, he kept saying, and he kept looking, he kept, staring off into space, like. And Arnold walks up to him, and says, "Hey, what the hell is wrong with you? There's something in those trees." And and then later on, he admits that he's scared. He's like, and Pancho's like, "Bullshit. You ain't afraid of no man. There's something out there waiting for us, and it ain't no man. We all gonna die." And he was right, and he was the next to go. And after Mac and Dylan, we just hear him scream, and of course, the predator moves on. He takes out Pancho, and Dutch is the only one left. And of course, he says that line has become a classic now. Get to the chopper, and you know the game continues between prey and predator, and of course, one of the grand action finales of all time between Arnold and the Predator. I mean, what more can I say about that that hasn't already been said? He sets up the booby traps. Well, the Predator's on his ass. He falls into the water with the Predator right behind him, and covers himself in mud because so he can hide his body heat. And when he's covered in mud, the Predator can't see him. But eventually, he sets up them booby traps. He lights a torch, screams for the Predator to come on out. I'm ready. Ah, yeah, and classic. I mean, well, it still holds up to this day. Um, and for the record, I'm only going to be reviewing the first two because those are my favorites. Anything after Predator 2, well, I don't like except for maybe Predator Killer of Killers. I got to give that one another watch. Being a big fan of animation that I am, I kind of like what they did with that was three different stories. I have to give that another watch and maybe another re-review. Because the last time I reviewed it I did a 3-minute short talking about that. But anyway, yeah, classic battle, between Arnold and the Predator. I mean, it's how can I put it into words? He ultimately gets the drop on the Predator, and he says, "What the hell are you?" And then the Predator repeats what he just said. What the hell are you? Just before he sets off this bomb and you know takes out the whole area damn near. And you know the chopper picks up Dutch and Anna, and of course the camera zooms in on his face, and he's traumatized. And the chopper flies away, and the end credits. But yeah, this is my review of Vivu review of Predator, and yeah, it's one of Arnold's best movies in my opinion, along with the Terminator 2, I mentioned Total Recall, uh, True Lies, Eraser, End of Days, yeah. But yeah, until my next review, I'll see you then. Later.